So what exactly is a cash offer, and how do investors even come up with these cash offers for your house? Do they really pay with cash? In this video, I'm going to answer those questions. I'm going to clear all of the confusion surrounding cash offers and how investors exactly calculate these offers, so you know exactly what to expect when you are receiving a cash offer on your property. All that and more coming up. What's up, guys? My name is Lillian Chukwueze, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the family. I drop multiple videos every week about real estate, entrepreneurship, and investing. So if any of those interest you, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I drop the next one. And don't forget to follow me on my socials, Instagram and TikTok. So, how much will an investor pay for my house? The truth is, it depends on what type of investor that actually makes the offers. Now, here's a breakdown of the different types of investors. Some investors are retirees that are tapping into their savings to avoid mortgage financing costs, buying with an IRA or something like that. Some investors are previous homeowners that are using the sale proceeds from their previous house to purchase a new property. Other investors are wealthy buyers who can just afford to put down a huge down payment on properties, with a large amount of cash. Other investors are iBuying companies, which are institutional buyers like Zillow, OfferPad, Open Door, those type of companies who basically are big investors that are trying to buy up as much property as they can. And then of course you have your local investors like me, who are basically looking to fix and flip properties or buy and hold them as rentals. So local investors are typically your best bet, and I'm not just saying that. The reason I say that is because local investors who are actually local to the community usually have your interests at best heart and the interests of the community to obviously just bring the neighborhood and the community up in value as a whole. So, some signs that you should look for in local investors. One being that they should already have the cash on hand to buy your home. The way that you figure that out is you simply just ask for a proof of funds. That's basically a sheet that's going to show you that they are approved for financing and they're ready to go. And when I say approved for financing, I don't mean from a bank for a mortgage. I mean maybe from like a hard money lender, typically where the hard money lender is supplying the investor to purchase the property and do whatever repairs that are necessary. Number two, the investor should be able to send a representative out typically within the same day or the next day. The third thing that you should watch out for are cash buyers that will accept the home as is. You don't want any contingencies. You don't want them to, tell you that you need to fix something in order for them to buy it. You just want them to accept the house as is. Now, but you also need to understand that some investors will have a clause in there saying that they need a couple days after you sign the agreement just to get their contractors in there and confirm the repairs needed to do the house, which is typically fair practice because, they need to have their numbers dialed in. We need to have our numbers dialed in as much as possible and not have to constantly over budget for the project, because no investor is going to purchase a house and know that they're going to lose money. That's why the seller also needs to understand when you're dealing with an investor that they are looking to actually purchase to make a profit on it. So there's no reason to be surprised about that. Another thing that you should be aware of is that a cash buyer should be able to pretty much close as soon as possible. Like, you can ask them if they can even close within the week, because honestly, sometimes it happens. Usually it'll take about 2 to 3 weeks if everything goes smooth, but if you have the cash on hand as a buyer, you should be able to close pretty fast as long as you have good title people. So if they can't close very soon, I would say they're probably not a good cash buyer to go with. Now, with that being said, cash buyers who are actively investing at this time will typically have a good relationship with title companies and be able to start the title search right away. The only reason why they wouldn't be able to start the title search right away is if that title company is in particularly super busy, but that's why we always have multiple title companies that we work with to get started on paperwork immediately, because we understand how time sensitive these type of situations are. So we want to get in and get out as fast as possible and get the cash to the seller as soon as it is available. Now, there are advantages to going with the all cash route, but the move isn't necessarily for everyone. There's some pros and cons that you definitely need to keep in mind. One of the pros of accepting a cash offer, the closing is pretty fast. It takes about, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even less. It's a lot faster than the 2 to 3 months that it might take with a conventional buyer. There won't be any appraisal. You'll avoid some contingencies. There obviously will be no real estate commissions and no repairs, and of course no staging, because you're selling it as is. Now, the cons of accepting a cash offer: you might not properly be able to vet somebody, because they might just be a single individual who's looking to purchase a house, pretty much the way that we started. But you gotta do your Googles, right? You gotta go online, search, to see if these people are legit, if they're a legitimate company, and pretty much figure out if they're credible or not. And another con is that the cash offers you receive might be lower than the other offers because it's usually a higher risk for investors to pay all cash for a property and pay as is than it would be for a conventional buyer to go and hire somebody to do a professional inspection. So because of that, cash offers are usually lower than what a conventional buyer would be able to pay. Because like I said before, the investor is in it to make a profit. Whereas though, the conventional buyer doesn't really care about that. But it's obviously a much longer and intensive process. So let's finally get to the question of how much will an investor actually pay for my house? So I'm actually gonna break it down for you guys on my whiteboard so you can see the numbers and get a better idea. But right now, let me just give you a quick overview of how exactly it's calculated. Now, typically an investor is looking for about 10 to 15% profit on the investment and the remodel of a home. This is usually after they pay the remodeling, pay for any holding costs. Obviously that has to do with the financing, the taxes and the maintenance, and pay any commissions to any realtors, and just the cost of selling the property. Now, obviously, like I've been saying, investors are in this to make a profit, so it's unrealistic for you as a seller to expect an investor to pay or invest hundreds and thousands of dollars into the remodeling of a house to sell it and go through months of construction just to lose money. That just doesn't make any sense. But the good news for you is that the investor is going to remodel and make all the improvements necessary for the house without you doing a thing, which will basically raise the value of the house. So they'll make their improvements as opposed to when you're selling it to a conventional buyer, they'll usually have you make the improvements before you sell. So the investor will base their offer on typically the after repair value, and the after repair value is the value that they basically hope to achieve by remodeling the house and renovating it, up to the best of condition, to what buyers are willing to pay at the time. Also, you gotta understand the current market conditions definitely affect how aggressive investors will be. In a hot market, they can typically take more risk, but in a soft market where people aren't buying as much, the investors may be a little bit more conservative. So I'm gonna go ahead and take you guys to my whiteboard, and I'm gonna show you guys an example of what an investor would be willing to pay for your house. I'm gonna try to illustrate this to you guys as best as possible, so bear with me. So let's say you have a house that you're looking to sell for $200,000, right? $200,000. And the ARV, or the after repair value, after it's all fixed up and remodeled, is $250,000. So in the current condition, it's in good condition, you kept it in good shape, you could sell it for $200,000, or you believe you could sell it for $200,000. Now, if you sell with an agent, this might net you, if you sell it for $200,000, this might net you about $184,000. Now, let me show you how I got this number. Basically, how I got this number is, if you have an agent, the agent you're gonna pay is gonna be 6%, right? 6% of the total purchase price. Then you also gotta include escrow fees, which is usually about another percentage. And then title insurance, which is usually about, let's just call it $1,000. All right. Plus, you gotta pay the home warranty and transfer taxes. Let's just say that just equals out to another $1,000, just to be on the safe side. And you also gotta include, let's say, the typical 3 to 6 months. Let's just say on a good average right now, since it is a hot market, let's just say 3 months. So let's say your mortgage right now is about $1,500 a month, and it's sold in 3 months, so that equals times 3, so that equals $4,500 plus another, let's just throw in $500 just for maintenance to keep it up and nice and staged and everything like that. So that'll equal out to about $5,000. So I actually recalculated everything, and that actually brings you out to a net of about $179,000 from a purchase price of $200,000. So that's around what you would actually net if you were going to go ahead and sell it the conventional way to a conventional buyer. Now, let's say you're going to sell it to an investor. Now we're going to finally get into how people calculate it for an investor, and I'm going to show you guys. So we're still gonna go with the estimated ARV of $250,000 because after the house is all fixed up, houses in the area in the same condition are selling for $250,000. So pay attention, this is exactly how an investor is gonna calculate their offer to give to you as the home seller. So they're gonna go $250,000, try to use the thick part of the marker, $250,000 times 70%. Now, if you do that calculation, I'll show you guys right now, $250,000 times 0.7 equals, see that? $175,000. $175,000. Now, you're probably wondering, where is this 70% coming from? So basically, this is the discount. The 30% that's missing from this number is the discount that investors take off of the ARV in order to account for holding cost, closing costs, and profit. So like I said earlier in the video, they usually want a 10 to 15% profit. So 10% for this, 10% for this, and 10% for this, generally speaking, right? Hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, from that $175,000 that's left, they are going to subtract repairs. So let's say the house needs work, right? It's in as-is condition right now that you're selling it, but it needs some work. So let's say it needs $30,000 worth of repairs. They're gonna subtract $30,000 from that 175. Now that brings you down to what? 145, correct? So this is the amount that an investor is going to pay you, because again, they have now subtracted what it's going to cost to hold the property, to close on the property, and to profit on the property, and the repairs that it'll take to, renovate the property. But this is the number that an investor will offer to pay for your property. Just to have a little bit of margin, they might go lower. They might go like 140 or 135. They might offer 130 or 135 or 140, just because the investor is going to go in there with their contract, and they may or may not find extra things that you didn't mention that's wrong with the property, such as foundational issues, anything that can cause the repairs to be over budget. So typically an investor will also account for extra repairs that may be needed that are not able to be seen in the process, or not able to be seen before construction is started. So they might add another $10,000 for repairs just to keep a buffer. So they might start their offering at $135,000. So this is what you can expect an investor to come in and try to negotiate with you on at this number for a property that is potentially worth, for a property that you're looking to sell for, well, if you're looking to sell to an investor, you're not going to look to sell for retail price. So this is what you got to calculate. Would it make sense for you to take this $135,000 or $145,000 and get it done with in 3 to 4 weeks max? Or you have to consider, would you rather go with the other offer, which we came to, from a conventional buyer, which we came down to about $179,000, and that's 3 months, with the headache that you got to deal with doing the repairs, doing the staging, dealing with the inspections, all the people running in and out the house. So these are things you got to consider. Does it make sense to go with this with less headache, or does it make sense to go with this where you have to dedicate more time and energy and money to it? So it's really up to you. It comes down to your individual situation, but I really hope this makes sense. This is exactly how investors come to you with their offers. So if you are looking to sell your property, just know that you can do these calculations yourself and kind of be in the ballpark of what you can expect to get from an investor versus a conventional buyer. So there you have it, guys. I hope this video was helpful so you get a good understanding of how exactly these investors come up with these cash offers for you. If this video was helpful, please go ahead and like it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I drop the next video. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm on there all the time. And until the next time, guys, I will see you later. Stay blessed and stay safe.